You don't feel drained because of people. You feel drained because your brain never stops tracking them. And there's a specific moment where that system becomes visible in real time. You're sitting at a dinner table with 4 people. Your hand holds a glass that's already warm from touch. Laughter happens around you, not inside you. You say something, then immediately replay it in your head. Not because it was wrong, but because it now exists in their memory. Part of you is still inside that sentence, checking how it landed. One part wants to relax into the moment. Another part is already measuring reactions you didn't consciously notice. Both are running at the same time. This is not about being shy. It's about a system that stays active even when nothing is happening. And if you've ever felt that split in real time, this is going to map it clearly. No labels, no reassurance, just what's actually happening underneath. We start from the moment your brain begins to scan without permission. You laugh right on cue, blending perfectly into the shared joy of a 4-person dinner table. But the truth is, you've already checked out. You've completely lost your sense of presence right in that moment. While looking totally fine on the outside, your brain is quietly running a real-time audit, constantly tracking every shift in tone and micro-reaction from the people around you. The second you finish speaking, a phone screen lights up. Did that sound normal, or was it slightly off? No one at the table reacts, but your brain already did. And that draining reaction loop doesn't just turn off when the dinner ends. Nothing feels wrong, and that is the problem. The table is still lively, and the conversation carries on completely normally. But deep down, your mind is processing social signals at lightning speed, faster than you can emotionally exit them. This system automatically decodes everything: tone, timing, and subtle shifts in attention. Right mid-sentence, you notice who stopped looking at you. You didn't choose to notice it, but your brain already did. A heavy cognitive load builds up quietly, even though you look completely effortless on the outside. I'm here, but I'm also tracking everything. And this invisible system doesn't just stop when you leave the room. Your shoulders drop before your thoughts do. The front door closes, leaving you in a quiet room with low lights. Right now, the social prediction loop finally stops running. Silence feels like relief, simply because the monitoring system is finally shut off. Finally, I can breathe normally. But the silence feels too clean. You are mistaking a total system shutdown for actual peace. This isn't calm, it is just the absence of input. And that system will reactivate immediately the next time you are seen. Half a second is enough to decide everything. Someone casually asks how you've been. Instantly, 2 responses generate simultaneously in your head: the truth you want to say and the safe answer. You quietly suppress your honesty simply because your brain already pre-calculated the social cost. They don't actually want the real answer. Your self-expression gets heavily filtered before you even speak. Then your lips smile and you say, "I'm fine." Something inside you goes completely quiet right after those words. And that silence starts happening in every room you walk into. You don't just enter a room, you evaluate it. The moment you walk through the door, your eyes are unconsciously scanning everyone's faces. A real-time social feedback loop is constantly running in the background. You are participating in the conversation while continuously tracking how you are being perceived. Your sense of presence gets split in two. There is you, and then there is the observer self watching you. Even your posture right now feels edited. Am I standing normally right now? Nothing about you goes unobserved by your own mind. And that exhausting, constant awareness has heavy consequences over time. 2 hours can feel like a full day. After a brief interaction, you feel drained completely out of nowhere. That wasn't even a long conversation. Social exhaustion actually comes from the heavy processing load on your brain, not the number of people you meet. Your cognitive resources are slowly eaten away by that continuous background monitoring. A normal amount of socializing suddenly feels disproportionately heavy. You feel completely unplugged, not just tired. But the worst part is, no one sees what actually drained you. And you start building explanations just to survive it. Oh, this is me. That explanation feels clean. You decline small talk, only choosing selective conversations with actual depth. I just don't care about shallow talk. But that explanation also ends the conversation early. The truth is, your brain is trying to avoid interactions that are low value but highly unpredictable. A preference for depth can sometimes be a mask hiding the fear of social vulnerability. Clean explanations can still quietly hide avoidance. Fewer social repetitions leave you with less adaptive flexibility over time. And that avoidance often has an origin you didn't choose. You didn't choose this fully. It just became automatic over time. Deep in your memory, maybe there was a time you were ignored or felt overly exposed socially. Back then, it was just much easier to stay quiet. Your brain learned a hard lesson about safety. Safety means reducing your own visibility. Solitude becomes your identity when social exposure feels unsafe or simply costs too much. Your current preference actually formed from adaptation, not from free choice. What starts as protection becomes personality, and then it feels like who you are. I'm better alone. That sentence feels so true until you have to ask, what does it actually protect you from? And that question won't leave you easily. You repeatedly choose isolation over social contact. The system in your head is prioritizing predictability and safety over the risk of real connection. Solitude can feel like freedom, but it is actually functioning as an avoidance of exposure risk. You have quietly let safety replace your own possibilities. The final confrontation is incoming. Silence can lie convincingly, especially when it feels so safe. The room is completely quiet now, with no demands and no social input. The monitoring system in your head is fully inactive. But right at this moment, real comfort and avoidance become indistinguishable. Is this actual peace or something else? The truth is, you may not be choosing solitude. You might just be avoiding being fully seen. The safety you hold on to isn't always freedom. And this final question closes the loop. What feels like solitude is often a system finally stopping its social calculations, not necessarily a preference for being alone. It becomes familiar because silence removes the cost of being perceived, not because it is better. You are the type of person who doesn't enter social spaces casually. You enter them already observing yourself inside them. You don't just remember conversations. You remember how carefully you survived them. Write one moment where you realized you were in the room but not fully in it. Not the explanation, the exact moment. If this pattern felt familiar, there's more layers we can map next time. You can stay for that. Silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it just means nothing is being monitored anymore.